Hey guys, welcome to Ask Athemocracy Anything. Of course, I asked you guys to send me a bunch of questions in the comments of a previous video, and I am here to answer them today. This is really cool. I'm glad that you guys came and sent me a bunch of questions, so let's get into it. First off, from Ahmed TV, what do you know about Cartoon Network Arabic? Crazy thing about this, I didn't know until a couple years ago that Cartoon Network really had like this regional outreach into different continents and countries and just these different networks on different areas. Like, for example, like we heard about the Lego, I'm trying to think of her character's name. We heard about that Lego series from Cartoon Network Russia. I didn't know that there was such a wide amount of content being produced or being just aired, and that Turner had such a far-reaching effect on the world. So I was surprised that Cartoon Network, has this brand reach throughout the world, but it's really cool to see. I don't know much about Cartoon Network Arabic. I just know that, of course, you have different cartoons in different countries. Sometimes they do bleed over, and they have similar cartoons, if not the same, on there. But usually, like for example, we have different cartoons in Cartoon Network Arabic. So it's interesting, but it's also it's fascinating because there are some cartoons that I've seen from other countries that I'd love to see on Cartoon Network America. Thanks for the question. I'm gonna mess up this name, dude. I'm sorry. Timur Saik. Hopefully I got this right. Please don't kill me. You liked Miraculous Ladybug, dude. Here's the thing, right? I checked out a clip of it. I checked out a few bits of information about it. I don't necessarily have anything to say about it other than it has more relevance than Teen Titans Go. It looks like a show that is fascinating or interesting. There's a purpose to it, so I don't hate it. There's nothing that would push me against it. So to me, I mean, that's just a cool show. It's a show that has purpose. It can do what it needs to do. I have no reason to find anything to disagree with it on. So for now, I'm okay with it. If I do a review or reaction or impression on it, cool. I'll talk about it later, possibly, but I mean, I don't really have any thoughts on it other than it looks like an interesting show. It looks like it has a purpose, and that's always good. It shouldn't just be made for pumping out money, Thanks for the question. Timothy Shoemaker, I'm sorry, dude. Are you hoping Warner Brothers makes Teen Titans Go exclusive to their new streaming service next year? That would be quite the dream. Well, actually, would it? I don't know. It would be it would be cool, but again, I don't hate Teen Titans Go. I just hate that it's on all the time. I hate that it's on, and that's what Cartoon Network's president, I can't remember her name for some reason, it's blanking on me. The fact that she believes that this is where the content should be mainly focused on. That is not my point of view. I think that Cartoon Network should have a variety of cartoons, and Teen Titans Go definitely shouldn't be the big driving force that is representative of most of Cartoon Network. So, if it were to be that Teen Titans Go would be exclusive to Warner Brothers streaming service, I'd say okay, that's whatever. Would it be cool to lose Teen Titans Go? I don't really think so. Like this, even during the worst times of Johnny Test, I didn't think, okay, well, if there's a fan base for it, whatever, if there's a fan base for it, give them the show, but don't have it on all the time. That's my only dislike of Teen Titans Go. I know that I'm always hating on Teen Titans Go constantly, but that's only because, number one, the fact that the quality is lower, and number two, it's always on. But thanks for the question, man. Sienna RHCP. What type of music do I listen to? I listen to all types of music, from classical music, like Beethoven and that sort of thing, to instrumentals from movies and themes and orchestras and orchestrals. I'm sorry, and Then, of course, I listen to techno music. I listen to 80s, 70s, 60s, 90s music. I grew up in the 2000s, and for some reason, I don't know why. Maybe it's because like movies use 90s music, but I really love 90s music as well. There's something about the 90s that I really fascinate that music with, but I do love the 70s and 80s almost as much as 90s music. I just get a little bit of excitement when I hear something on the radio randomly that's like 90s music. I listen to more modern music as well. It's not like I don't hate modern music. I just definitely think there's a difference between what was back then and what is now, and I do think that, at least, well, in particular senses, right? Like, the only music that I hate is music that is made to purposely make money. The music that doesn't really have a purpose other than to make money and is not being driven by passion. And that's where I mean, that's almost in every single industry that I watch. Like, if I see a really bad Transformers movie, like, I love the first 3 Transformers. I think that they're okay. But the fourth and what looks like the fifth look like purposely made for money trash cans. So, and then you have Bunsen the Beast, for instance, in the cartoon world. We all know that Butch Hartman can do better than that. But he is making the show that seems like it doesn't have any passion at all. And so that also really pulls me back as someone that really loves his content. So, it goes for almost all different industries that I don't like content that is only that's only made to pretty much make money. And so, I mean, even if there's like a 70s song or like an 80s song or a 90s song that's just made to make money, I think I'll step off of that as well. So it just depends on that particular thing. But everything else I pretty much listen to. I also listen to my friend Austin's music. You can always check him out. I'm gonna plug him here. Find him on AJet on SoundCloud, and he makes pretty cool stuff. Thanks for the question. Cool Ghoul asks, "Are you a boy or girl?" I'm going to guess that you know this question, or you know the answer to this question, so I'm not going to answer it. But thanks though. Tariq Tunes, what's your opinion on Flash animation? I love this question because here's the thing: I don't hate Flash animation. I set expectations for some reason on Flash. Like, I don't mind if Flash is being used on YouTube, for instance, where someone is starting out. Like, for example, I'm probably going to use Flash animation at a certain point when I get into that world. But for right now, I'm not using it. There's a little preview for you, probably in Q4 of 2017. But yeah, in YouTube and in smaller senses, I don't mind Flash animation. But when it's done on something like Nicktoons, or when it's done on something like Cartoon Network and it's done horribly, that's when I have to pull back and say, this is not good. You guys can make better content than this. Like when we see content like when Bunsen is on Flash, when they could do a much better job in the way that they had used prior. Like if Disney, for instance, started going with Flash animation in their movies, I'd be disappointed, because we know their potential. And we know they have the money to do it. So when they shift from that, that's the only issue when I have toward Flash animation. But in all other senses, especially for someone that's beginning to get into animation, or someone that just is on YouTube and is using Flash, I have no problem with that. That's pretty much my thoughts on Flash animation overall. Yeah, if it's not, but also if it's well executed, if it's well executed on a lower level, I think that's also very good. Thanks for the question. Nick Garad asks, what are your thoughts on this new animated series coming to Netflix next year in 2018 called Hilda, about this blue-haired fearless girl who goes on adventures? This looks really interesting. I love the art style of it. I need to do a sort of first impressions or reaction to it pretty soon. It looks really cool. We don't know much about it yet, but I'm definitely going to keep track of it, because when I see content like this, and again, Netflix is becoming that new Cartoon Network where it's bringing in these original cartoons. They're really good, really great, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Sienna RCHP, what are some of your favorite cartoons? Well, let's see. I can sit back and watch almost any episode of South Park outside of season 20. I can sit back and watch King of the Hill. I can sit back and watch, I think especially when there's a plot line going through all of them. There are cartoons that have a plot line from beginning to end. I think that's really good. Like, for example, Voltron has become one of my favorites recently. You have, I think, season 1 of Spongebob, for instance. You have the about season 2 through 5 of Fairly Odd Parents. I'd have to really say I love, especially that era of Channel Chasers and the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. Jimmy Neutron, definitely. Danny Phantom, definitely. Avatar: The Last Airbender, definitely. Speed Racer: The Next Generation, as I said in my 15th anniversary of Nicktoons Network review, definitely. Now let's go into Cartoon Network here. Gun Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I stepped back, watched some more of that recently. I was like, I forgot how much I loved that series. Then the original Powerpuff Girls. There's something just about that, the tone and the style of it, that I just really enjoy. So yeah, the original Powerpuff Girls, and I'm missing a bunch of Cartoon Network series. Don't hate me for it. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, and this is the type of video that I wanted to make for you guys, just off the top of my head, Q&A. So yeah, regular show, obviously. Steven Universe is a show that I enjoy, but I don't know if it's one of my favorite shows. Gravity Falls, I've gotten into it more. I think my friend Austin watches it way more than I do, but I do enjoy that series. So yeah, one of my favorites out there. So yeah, those are a few that are my favorites. Thank you for that question. Now, I got a pretty similar question here from Content Deleted Hello and also Sienna RCHP. What inspired you to start your channel? Pretty much that was the tone of the question, and I could go into my prior content. Like, I started back in 2013 on talking about tech and gaming on this old channel called Digital Gamers Network. You can find it on YouTube. You can check it out. You can hear my old like the horrible microphone that I used. It was from a PlayStation Move camera. Horrible. Movie Maker is just awful. I hate it. But you can find it on YouTube, obviously, and yeah, that's where my older content is. But if there's one thing that really started off this style, it was, like, I had started Athemocracy in 2015, but what really started it was Super Noobs when I watched it. I think it was like Christmas, or it was like a couple days after Christmas. I just gotten my Mac Mini because I'd been working at the store. I was like, I wanted to really get into video editing. You know, I wanted to get into YouTube. I wanted to get more. I was already in YouTube, but I wanted to get more into it. I wanted to bring in better content. That was the goal of getting. I wanted to get the Mac Mini, get Final Cut Pro, make more content, and I did. But I didn't know what I wanted to do with the channel yet. I was like, okay, what is the purpose of this channel? And then I saw Super Noobs, and I was just watching it on a random day. You know, just, all right, whatever, you know, happened to be on, and I was like, this thing is garbage. This is really, like, bad, like, bottom of the barrel, worse than Teen Titans Go level content. How is this getting even any bit of attention? And how is the Johnny Test creator still making trash? Like, he made the latest series, the latest seasons of Johnny Test were awful, and then you make even worse in Super Noobs. Like, dude, are you, like, thinking about this at all? Like, this is horrible. And so, you know, I typed up a review, and I was vehemently, like, just not angry, but because, like, you acknowledge the fact that, you know, I went on the YouTube channel, and I saw that there was a fan base, and you also acknowledge the fact that, you know, you are from an older generation, and you can always voice your opinion, and you can always voice your opinion toward that younger generation, but always acknowledge that the younger generation will have their shows that they love, just like I had my shows that I love. So I wanted to make sure that I made that point, but I also wanted to be direct with the fact that the show was garbage. And that was pretty much where I started, like, started reviewing and focusing on animation. And I started realizing that I could have a dialogue in the comments. You know, people were responding to this video, commenting back and forth, and I, you know, talked to people that were fans of Super Noobs and people that were against, just like I was, and we just had this conversation. And I thought, okay, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to focus my channel. And I still did videos on gaming and tech, and you will find them on, you know, if you look through 2016 content, you will find a lot of Athemocracy video game stuff, and you'll find a lot of different things in that area. But I really focused more into animation, and you'll see that this year I definitely am way more tonally focused in animation. So if there's one thing, oddly enough, it was Super Noobs that really got me started into into this animation focused channel. As weird as it is. Thanks for the question, though. Also wanting to do a podcast in cartoons, because we started doing a podcast back in 2013. Then I found a way to sort of streamline that into a cartoon podcast. So yeah. Did you know that Cartoon Network is planning to cancel Steven Universe soon? I'm guessing you're asking if I know if Cartoon Network is planning to cancel it. I don't know. Here's the thing. We always hear all this skepticism and curiosity and all of these like, oh, here's a new thing about it that might actually say that it's ending. We don't know. We don't know until they confirm that it's over, until they say Steven Universe is officially ending after season 5 or season 6. We don't know if it's going until season 8. We don't know if it's going until season 7. We don't know if this is a moment in Steven Universe that is going to be dour and sad, and if it'll pick up again. We just don't know. We don't know what the tone of what the writers want to do with the series. We don't know where they want to go long term. So it depends on them, and it depends on Cartoon Network. And of course we have the fact that there's the fact that Cartoon Network does a horrible job in marketing. That is one of the most embarrassing things about the channel today, is they don't market Steven Universe like they definitely deserve to be marketed. It's one of the best shows on the channel, one of the last remaining great shows on the channel, one of the most iconic shows, and you're not marketing it. You know, that's really annoying. So, look, we don't know if it's going to end soon. We don't know if it's going to end in 3 years. Like I said in the regular show review, another one that I did like in the beginning of my channel, like that got 7 years. 7 years is a long time when you talk about Danny Phantom living for a much shorter amount of time, Proud Family living for a much shorter amount of time. You have these cartoons that don't live as long, and we take that for granted. So, you know, it could be that it ends in a year, it could be that it ends in 4, we don't know. So I don't have any knowledge on if they're planning on canceling it. But thanks for your question. I mean, you always want to keep watch of what your favorite cartoon is doing. I'm skipping past people. MDCU asks, what do you think about the Ben 10 Generator Rex crossover? Back when I had my PS3, I downloaded a copy of it, and it is really cool. You know, I think I said this, or maybe I haven't said this. You know, or someone further ahead. I'll talk about this in another one. But I didn't watch all of the Ben 10 series. But one of the things I did do was I checked out this crossover, and I thought that this was such a cool, action-packed, fun crossover to see two characters that are just that are perfect to cross over with. And I thought that was just really cool. It's something that I enjoy. I turned it on from time to time, and I would just enjoy it. So yeah, I have to review it at a certain point, but I have no bad point of view about the crossover at all. N3 Vox asks, what's the name of the song used in your Animation Nation videos? That is from Star Fox Corneria Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or SNES as people call it. I think that if you search on YouTube, SNES, Corneria, OST, official soundtrack, obviously, you'll probably find it. And that's what I use. I thought that that really captured the tone of what I wanted the Animation Nation videos to be. This sort of really upbeat, news-based video where you're getting everything, and that was the focus of it. So yeah, thank you. Yahir Sauce Do, dude, I'm sorry if I messed up. I am not doing my best here. Did you watch all the Ben 10 series besides the reboot? Interestingly enough, no, I did not. I watched the Ben 10 original as a kid, loved it. I was 10 around the time when I think it was the live action movie came out. Maybe it was a little, I was 10 back in 2007. So, whenever that movie came out, I was around that age. It was cool to see the Ben 10 it was cool to see Ben being 10, and then I was also 10. I always thought that was cool to me. I don't know why. And then, you had, I guess because it was something that connected the character, but then you had, of course, the teenager era, Alien Force, and I thought that was cool as well. But I didn't watch that as often, because I think what I can remember most is in the 2008 to 2009 era, I focused a lot more on the Nicktoons Network channel, and I really tuned into Avatar: The Last Airbender marathons, and I would love Speed Racer: The Next Generation, and I watched that all the time. But I pulled back from Cartoon Network. I still obviously watched the Clone Wars and Chowder and Flapjack and Camp Lazlo, and I'm trying to remember all the cartoons that were always being replayed, because of course, if you remember, lots of shows were being canceled in that era. You had Class 3000 as well, but I just didn't check out Ben 10 as often after that. And I remember being in high school, actually, when Omniverse came out and saying, "This is awful, this sucks." And I didn't realize, because I was angry because they changed the animation style, but I didn't realize it was actually really cool. It wasn't bad. They didn't make it worse. It was actually a great dynamic that they changed the animation, but they still kept it very similar. The way in which they also advanced the character was also very good. So that Omniverse thing is really good. I think it stands on its own alongside all the other, like Alien Force, and I'm missing one of them. There's 4 iterations, and I'm missing one of them. Omniverse, Alien Force, original, and there's one right smack dab in the middle that I'm missing out on. But those 4, I think, stand on their own. They're great. I need to watch them because they're just really good series. And then you have the reboot, which is truly the trash pile of this iteration of this great franchise. So yeah, no, I didn't watch all of them, but I need to watch them. But I think the 4 before the reboot deserve to be watched. Emmy Freud asks, favorite SpongeBob episode? Dude, I love season 1 and season 2 of SpongeBob. I think I'll watch other seasons of SpongeBob, but I have VHS tapes of classic SpongeBob. I love the movie, the original movie. I don't like the new movie as much. There's just this era of, maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's quality, but something about it I just really do enjoy, and I do love, whether it was, Rip Pants is always, people love the Rip Pants episode, but I think like Sandy's Rocket could be one of my favorites. One of the ones that I remember being a kid and I barely saw an episode of. I remember wanting to see I remember sitting in front of my TV hoping that this episode of I think it was either Jellyfish Jam or the bus episode where SpongeBob goes into this dark area, this trench, and he wants to get back home. I remember wanting to have that episode air and waiting for that episode to come, but you never would know what episode they'd turn on to if you know what I mean. So this is before the internet this is before all the full episodes online and all that stuff, so you had to wait for it on Nickelodeon. You had to sit back and enjoy and wait to see if that cartoon would ever land. And yeah, that was my childhood, Yeah, SpongeBob, in the beginning, definitely one of my favorites. I really do love those first 2 seasons. I could literally probably watch any of the episodes in the first 2 seasons, still enjoy them. Probably a few in season 3, a few in season 4, but after that, it probably sort of falls off. I do have this secret love of, not secret love, but I do have this love of the Best Day Ever episode, because I do remember the ad campaign going into that. I also do remember Atlantis Square Panis. I still remember that ad campaign as well. But both of those, Best Day Ever, I remember the song is on the SpongeBob the movie, I think, CD. The SpongeBob movie soundtracks, the CD itself, the album. And I remember listening that over and over and over because I love that CD. I would listen to it all the time. And so, Best Day Ever was one of my favorite songs, and I was like, oh, they're making an episode off of that. And I thought, I actually, me as a kid, thought that they didn't execute the episode as well as I thought they could have. That was me as a kid, still it was okay. The episode was cool, but they didn't I thought they were going to do something a little better than just this sort of very cheesy best day, literal Best Day Ever episode. But what can you do, I mean, well, anything. But yeah, I love SpongeBob, man. I love it. All right. Shamiz has more than a few questions. Here are my questions. Number 1, do you like Invader Zim comics? I've never seen them. Sorry about that. Now maybe I will if I get into them. Actually, I've never actually. I remember I love manga, but I try to get into comics. I just don't like something about them. I don't know why. I just never get into them. I love reading books, like really long books that are hundreds of pages long. I love manga. I don't know why. Something about comics. I never get into them. Number 2, are you interested to know about Rainbow Shrine? Not particularly. Possibly. I mean, maybe. I'm not. No. Probably not. Which Rainbow Shrine character would you be? I don't know. That's a good question because I haven't seen any information on it. Sorry about that. I hope I answered them well enough for you. Alright, Sienna RCHP and Cooler Man both ask, do you watch anime? And, Sienna RCHP asks, what are some of your favorites? Look, I love anime. Like I say with all of the I say this to a lot of people. Anime, just like TV, like live action TV, just like movies, live action, just like cartoons. They have their they have their fan favorites. They have their they have the ones people hate. They have the ones that are like in different genres. Like there's sci-fi, there's action. Like whenever people ask how do I get into anime, it's like, dude, just like TV. Like there are different genres like romance and action and sci-fi and drama, and they're all there. It's not like anime is this completely different thing. It's pretty much the same. So, and it actually, I think, has, as of right now, a little more diversity than what we're getting from our actual animation content here in America, which is mostly, for adults, comedic, and then you have a bit more in terms of drama and action when it comes to these other channels. But overall, one of my favorites, man. I think that. All right, let's see. I think you have to start with FMA, Full Metal Alchemist. As a kid, I actually really was scared of the character. I remember being scared of not Edward. God, I can't forget his name. But Full Metal Alchemist and Brotherhood. I remember being scared of the I'm sorry I'm saying robot, but I know it's not a robot, but I'm trying to technically the armored. God dang it! The armored Elric. Everyone that thought he was actually the Full Metal Alchemist, they'd think that he was the Full Metal Alchemist, but he wasn't. It was always funny to me. I think it was funny to a lot of people, but Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Code Geass. I can't wait for season 3. I think that series is so good. SAO. I love. Here's the thing. SAO, I think. SAO isn't my favorite, right? It's not something that's I love, but it's one of the most nostalgic anime to me because I really got into anime again going to Anime Club, and this is one of the first anime I saw. This is what is this? Because it was you're in Incrad and you're learning about this character and you're getting into it, and I loved that goal setting all the way up to that point. But I didn't really like season 2. It just didn't feel. I didn't connect with season 2. I didn't connect with most of the content outside of Incrad. And I think that the tones were changed and they tried to become really weird after that. I do like the finale of season 1, but overall, Sword Art Online, not my favorite, but I do like Incrad. Attack on Titan, hell yes. Season 2, awesome. I can't believe that they somehow made a theme song that was as good as the first season. My God, how did they do that? Usually you try to top that, but you just don't know how. Then you have content like Soul Eater, right? Angel Beats, right? Awesome, these really just tight stories that are short and lovable. Angel Beats, Clanad, really good romance story. If you ever get a chance to check it out, I've said this in my anime recommendations. These are all series that I'll probably do anime recommendations of. But you have Clanad After Story, Beyond the Boundary came out in 2013 and really kicked ass. Just really cool series. I really found a way to love that series. Mirai Nikki, English. The Future Diary. There we go. If you haven't seen that, really fascinating. School Days, not fascinating at all, but it popped up in Really bad. Really bad. Makoto did deserve it though. Then you have, like, for example, like these really short series, Anohana and another, like these two are like very different. Another's like creepy and and very suspenseful, and Anohana's like this. It's not lighthearted, but man, do they make this really good story out of it? And it's sad, but it's really good. And you have, I think I'll end it like, Hakuya, very good very fun mystery story. Not always fun, but very fascinating mystery story. You had Toradora, very good romance. Kill la Kill, obviously, really good. Then you have these 90s ones like Cowboy Bebop and Black Lagoon and Trigun. There are hundreds of them, but yeah, I love anime. I mean, yeah, there's no debate. Sorry, let me get back to this list here. Do you play any video games? Yes, I do. I love video games. I'm a PlayStation kid for the most part, but I do acknowledge everyone else. I do not. Like I said before, I spoke on a lot of different video game topics when I was a couple years ago, and actually last year. And I still talk about cartoons, but I don't do it on podcasts anymore as of right now. I do have a channel that I'm trying to get off the ground, but I just haven't started it yet. That will focus on tech and cartoons, but yeah, I play video games. I play on my computer, even though Macs don't have many games that are compatible on Steam, which is awful. But I do play video games. I play on PlayStation for the most part. I have a PS1. I started PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4. I don't have my PS4 or PS3 anymore, but I do hang out on PS2 all the time. I remember as a kid selling my original copy of Mario Party 1, Wave Race, and NASCAR 2000 to GameStop like an idiot because I wanted to buy a PS2 game like an idiot. So I sold those games, and man, was that a stupid thing to do. What great games they were. I love N64. It's one of those consoles that I really want to get back into playing. If Switch becomes compatible with N64, I mean, that's what I will. I mean, that's going to be instantly not compatible with like the cartridges, but I mean, like, has a library of N64 games. That's when I'm instantly on the bandwagon. That's when I'm instantly joining. If they just get Wave Race and they get Mario Party and they get these games that are great with multiplayer and great single player, that'd be great, and that would be awesome, and that would really change the game for me in terms of buying a Switch. But yeah, I love gaming. I love, for instance, I'm more of a racing gamer. I love Gran Turismo and Twist. I don't play Twisted Metals often, but that was a game that popped up in my head. Flat Out, Burnout Paradise, Burnout franchise, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed is like one of my favorite kart racers. I think it is better than Mario Kart 8, at least up till I think Ultimate is cool. MK8 is Ultimate. I haven't played it, but it looks good. It looks like what Mario Kart 8 should have been at launch. But yeah, I think Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed is my favorite and is higher quality. You have like, I am very nostalgic to Call of Duty. Like, I love Modern Warfare 2 and 3. I think that those are great. I remember as a kid playing, not as a kid, but I wasn't a teenager yet. I was sort of like adolescent, that area between being 10 and a teenager, playing Black Ops with my friend, and we were just playing all summer, just enjoying that. It was great. Playing the Wheelman as well, like that was a fun time. Time Crisis 4. You have these arcade games. Look, I mean, I could keep going on and on, but just like my anime thing, like I was talking about, I love gaming, man. It depends on what time I really want to. It depends on the type of day that I'm having, if I really want to jump in or not. But yeah, video games, they're awesome. Cool Ghouls asks, not Ghouls, but Ghoul asks, how old are you? Dude, I'm about to be 20 in a couple days. My birthday's coming up, so yeah. Many Winters asks, do you have any idea about what you're doing after answering these questions? Probably editing Animation Nation. I'm gonna have to probably do some sort of combination of last week and this week, because here's the thing: there's not much news going on in the animation world this week, so I'm gonna have to deal with that and find a way to just work around it. Thanks for the question. Greg 1964, sorry for the way I'm pronouncing this here. What's your opinion on the Storks cartoon from the 80s? Dude, I think that Storks is like Smurfs. It's cool. I mean, it's okay. I don't have much to speak on it with. I mean, when I watch a couple of episodes, maybe I'll jump into it and think about it more often. But I mean, it's just there to me. It's okay. I mean, it's weird actually, the fact that they have those holes on their heads. And anyway, yeah, it's just weird. Thanks for the question, Carl Bloke. Don't you think it would be awesome if Cartoon Network would brought back the Powerhouse era, Cartoon Fridays, and CN City, with Adventure Time, Regular Show, Gumball, and Steven Universe crossing over with the original cartoons? Yes, dude, that would be great. But of course, the new Cartoon Network president, who I'm blanking on right now, doesn't seem to have any sort of effort into putting any originality into her time here. She's just doing it like as she's just sitting there. Like, she's okay with doing the bare minimum here, working out without just working the Cartoon Network as it is, and having Teen Titans Go be the lion's share of the content, and barely putting on your best content. And I think that's embarrassing. Cartoon Fridays deserves to return. One of the questions I've always had is, would these blocks actually work? I think kids today don't have the attention span that our generation did. Just like our generation didn't have the attention span, because everything's getting faster and their attentions are moving. I don't even think they'd actually pay attention to a Cartoon Friday block. You know why? Because they have their phones, they have their other content. I think that kids don't even pay attention to more than like 15 minutes, which is why cartoons are being shortened from 23 to 11 minutes now. It's sad, but it's true. I think that kids just don't stick to a channel, and I think that's why ratings also are just declining. Kids just aren't staying on a channel as long as they used to. They're not like, oh, why should I stay on for 3.5 hours when I can play this right here on my phone, and I can ignore the rest of the TV, and I can turn it off. And I think that's a pressing issue, and that's something that people just overlook when thinking about how to reboot Cartoon Network. But yeah, I think it would be a great thing to do. I just think that, even adults today, I don't think they'd actually stay tuned to a Cartoon Friday. That'd be really hard to do, because adults also are so locked into their phones. Like, everything is always mobile, and you can't just, for some reason, get off your phone for 2 minutes. So yeah, it's gonna be tough to even keep attention on these channels, which is why I think that at a certain point they need to push Cartoon Network onto its own streaming service so that people can just choose what they want to watch. So yeah, thanks for the question. Pancakes Are Awesome asks, Pancakes or Waffles? I'm not just saying this because your profile is Pancakes, but dude, I love Pancakes way more than Waffles. Eggo can go screw itself. I love Eggos, but really, I like Pancakes way more. I mean, I crafted the art of making pancakes, and I've used that skill very well because I love pancakes. And I think that you can do a lot more mixing and a lot better mixing than with Waffles. And pancakes all the way. Content deleted channel. Hello, content deleted. Hello, already. I already did your question. 568 Lego Super Mario asks, do you live in the USA or Canada? I live in Canada. I live in the United States of America. Build that wall. You know what I mean? I'm joking. This is help us all. The Johnny Walker Show asks, so do you think with the revival of Nick caring a little more of their animation and with Disney XD growing their content, is Cartoon Network new direction losing their way of how they do cartoons after the likes of Steven and Gumball are gone in the near future? Should we fear of what may come out of it if Cartoon Network does not get out of the corporate trend? I used to think in that perspective, at least the second half of your question, I used to think of Cartoon Network in a worrying sense before this year's upfront, we really didn't know what was going to happen. We had no idea what was going on with the content. We were like, okay, what's going on? Ben 10 is the last thing on the list of new things coming out. We don't know what's going to happen in 2018, 2019. We don't know what's going on moving forward. So what's going to happen? Cartoon Network, now after this upfront, really has a solid list of content that I'm really proud of. Craig of the Creek looks really good, looks promising, looks great. I'm fascinated to see how this thing turns out, and hopefully it stays around for a while. I hope it becomes that great new show that people love, and I think that it can really stand on its own, become something that is special. OKKO already has a huge amount of following, already has a massive amount of attention, and I think that, once this thing goes live, I think people will love it even more. It will already be that big standout icon that we want it to be. So there's no real fear of OKKO doing badly, because people love OKKO. Then you have, Apple and Onion. That is up in the air for me. I don't really like that show, but I mean, my friend Austin does, and I think that it can become special, and I think that that can become a good show, or become a favored show, and I think that that could also move in the direction of becoming an iconic show. You have Summer Camp Island. I think that's another one that really does have the potential to just become very special, because of the fact that it not only is its animation style like a storybook, but I think that the characters also are fascinating. So then you have Infinity Train, which we don't know much about yet, but I think that they could be definitely holding on to that character for a very long time, and then releasing her in maybe a year or two from now. So I'm excited, actually, for the future of Cartoon Network. My fear is that they keep showing Teen Titans Go so often that we don't get that attention to other cartoons that really deserve it. That's my fear. Or that it gets replaced by something that, like, for example, like the Unikitty series, that might replace it and become that the same sort of style where it's aired all the time. That's my fear. That's my greatest fear, is that they just continue to do this trash of keeping Teen Titans Go on 40 or 50% of the time, and that's not something that they should be doing. Additionally, then you asked about the revival of Nick. I think that the revival I used to think was there, but they cut out Harvey Beaks, right? I think that is a particular question of, what are they doing? What is their purpose? What is the reason for them to even go? Are they actually going into a revival? I don't think so, and here's why. Because if they were going into a revival, they would have kept Harvey Beaks. I think Harvey Beaks could have stayed on, obviously, and then you have Loud House, and you have Welcome to Wayne, which is going to be another good series. This isn't really a revival, even though we are getting a bunch of throwbacks. We're getting that Hey Arnold movie later on this month. We're getting Rocko's Modern Life getting its I think a comeback, and I can't wait for that. We're getting a number of these throwbacks. I think that's good, but in terms of reviving animation like these Nicktoons, I don't think Nickelodeon actually wants to do that. I think Nickelodeon knows that people aren't pushing for cartoons. More kids are watching live action content. They don't really care anymore. Kids aren't focused on that, and that's sad to see. But they don't care. Nickelodeon can just ride that wave as long as they want to, because if they want to do animation, they're not really appealing to kids. They're more appealing to adults that want animation. So I don't really see that they're doing a revival. I don't think they're doing anything like that. It's definitely not like what we saw of Cartoon Network in 2010, but they're definitely moving in a certain direction. Then you asked if Disney XD growing their content. Yeah, Disney XD is growing their content. That's great to see. Big Hero 6, DuckTales, going to be great. Awesome cartoons that will add to this awesome lineup of series. I think people keep saying Star is not getting isn't becoming that Gravity Falls type series. And sure, that's true. It doesn't have that same sort of suspense, and it doesn't stick to you as much. But I think that it does have I think that it can still keep you in. I mean, I still really enjoying Star. So yeah, I enjoy Star very much. And of course, Milo Murphy's Law, some hate it, some don't. I think it's okay. I think that it can be very predictable, just like Phineas and Ferb was. So yeah, I mean, there's a revival there, and I think that's a good thing. So yeah, thanks for your set of questions. Thanks to your opinion there. You do make a very good point. Cartoon Network needs to get out of this really corporate trend of airing in Teen Titans Go constantly. So yeah, thank you. I'm going to skip Ajet's question because, it's a really weird question. Eric Valtierrez, I'm sorry, dude. Rank all of these anime down below. Evangelion, Attack on Titan, Sailor Moon, Yuki Yuna is a Hero, Madoka Magica, and Bleach. I'm going to have to tell you, I haven't watched Bleach. I've watched Madoka Magica. I've watched Attack on Titan, Sailor Moon, and Evangelion. I'm going to put in terms of my personal opinion, Attack on Titan number 1, Sailor Moon number 2. I really do enjoy. I like Sailor Moon. Madoka Magica. Actually, no, Madoka Magica number 2, Sailor Moon number 3. And look, it's not like they're all bad. Here's the thing: I love all of these, so it's not like I'm saying one is worse than the other. I'm just saying that I would watch one more often than the other. That's pretty much all. And Evangelion in 4th. So yeah, thanks for your question. And then we have a bunch from Carl Bloke here because you decided to reply with like 7 different questions, and I'm going to run through these pretty simply because everyone else asked one, and I might actually, here's what I'll do, I might spread them out, and I might actually answer some of these in June, to be honest with you, dude. Because, 7 questions or 8 questions, like, oh, thanks for you said congrats for the 5K, and thank you. So, yeah, first off, Athemocracy, isn't it sad how Boomerang doesn't show old shows anymore like Courage or Ed and Eddie? Definitely, man. That's the problem. That's one of the biggest issues I have with Boomerang right now is the fact that they don't focus on the content that they should be. Boomerang should be a 90s, 2000s hub now. They tried with the throwbacks from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and that worked for a decade, and then ratings started sliding. So the next thing would have logically been to focus on those 90s kids that really want the content, but instead they're not doing that. They're just focusing on, making crap. And that sucks. Once Samurai Jack succeeds, do you think that it's possible that other Cartoon Network shows could be revived, like Mega XLR or Symbiotic Titan? I think Samurai Jack was in a particular sense in the fact that the story wasn't over. The story wasn't over, and that's why Samurai Jack came back. I think that Mega XLR. I don't know the what led to. I don't know if they have a way to wrap up their story. I think that they could come back, but I don't think they would come back in the way in which we saw Samurai Jack. Are you sad that Harvey Beaks was canceled? I know I am, dude. I don't understand. That was one of the best shows that was actually on TV at this point. You had one of these great cartoons, and it just gets wrapped up in a year and a half. Like, dude, it's really sad to think that Teen Titans Go has lasted for 4 years now. 4 or 5 years now, and now we have this one lasting for a year and a half. That sucks. Are you looking forward to Cartoon Network Fusion Fall coming back? I don't have many details on Fusion Fall. I'll get back to you on that. Ask next month, and I'll probably research it a little more. Do you know, in a recent episode, Teen Titans Go has a blatant ripoff of Employee of the Month? I'm not surprised that Teen Titans Go is ripping off of other content. They already have pretty much ripped off. If they haven't ripped off other people, they're doing a horrible job on their cartoon. So, yeah, that's it. I'm still pissed at how Cartoon Network badly treated regular show's finale. Are you still mad? Heck yeah, I am, man. Regular show deserved better. Every cartoon usually has that ending weekend marathon before the premiere. That's always been the case with all these different cartoons. You had this massive finale push, and they didn't do that. They just aired Teen Titans Go, all as they always do. So embarrassing, so disappointing. And if they don't do anything for the 25th anniversary, that's going to be even worse. That's going to be even more of a telling sign that the president, and I'm blanking on her name for some reason, Christina Miller, has no idea how to really keep people excited about Cartoon Network. She's just doing her job and just doing the bare minimum. And if that's the case, if they don't do anything for the 25th, then that's how you prove the point. And you asked a couple of questions here. You asked a couple of final questions. Do you think that Boomerang app is completely unfair? No, I think that $5 a month is understandable. It makes sense. They're trying to make revenue off of the fact that, if you drop cable, if you drop Boomerang, then you're going to get more content. What I don't think is fair is the fact that they're dropping the content on the channel and they're not making it fair for everyone. They're not making it fair for both sides. Where you have the Boomerang channel that you can access, but it's not giving. They're setting different tiers. It's like Xbox Live and non-Xbox Live, right? Where if you have Xbox Live, you're getting more content. If you don't, then you're getting bland content, or you're getting barely anything. And I think that's the different. That's where it's unfair. The app though isn't unfair. If you don't have cable and it's $5, you can jump in and that's cool. So that's my only issue. But other than that, yeah, guys, you asked a bunch of questions. I am thankful that you guys actually have enough interest in my content that you actually did comment. So thank you for holding out for this week. I know it took a while for me to respond to all these questions, but I will do this actually monthly. This will be Ask Athemocracy Anything. I'll do it every single month, and I hope you guys stay tuned for more. Thank you for watching, and yeah, this is Athemocracy.